Hello, it's Heather with another episode of my vlog for my mold detox. Today is the last day of February of 2024, February 29. It's a really cold day. I thought it was going to be warmer out today, but it's freezing. The sun is shining, which is great. I wanted to get some morning sunlight. And I have been trying to do an update for a couple of months now on what's been going on and trying to figure, and like I make these videos and then I'm just like, yeah, it's not it. And I don't know why I'm caring so much, but I just wanted to cover a sort of consistent thought that I've had over the last 2 months. First of all, I've had my first appointment with my new health coach, and the scan results for the bioresonance scan, she was able to give me specific details. It did show I had fusarium in my profile. That's a black mold. So I don't know if that was deeper in my system and the other stuff is cleared out and this is ready to get cleared, or if that's a new exposure. But there was that, and there was a new mycotoxin that didn't show up on any earlier testing. So the earlier testing, which was bioresonance scanning, mycotoxin and mycotoxin urine tests, as well as environmental tests of the spaces that I was living in. None of them showed fusarium in the past. All of them were the aspergillus, or however you say it, and penicillium or whatever kind of stuff. So this is new, and I'm going to be heading into a mold detox, but right now we're doing some basic prep work to take care of some of the symptoms that have been going on that I've been really symptomatic. So with other things. So yeah, there's that. She also found a tapeworm that tested, and so because I've never done a sort of specific or dedicated parasite cleanse, like very focused on a particular kind of parasite, she's going to take me through that next. Although we may do another 6 to 8 weeks on the first protocol just to make sure I'm super stable before we get started on that. Meanwhile, I've had this sort of light bulb of sort of basically, gosh, I'm in perimenopause. And what I have discovered in learning about that is sort of a realization of two things. First is, this is a subgroup that's quite large of the mold population that is not being served well, I don't think. I don't see any sort of the free online resources with Instagram people or courses or whatever that talk specifically about how to manage and treat mold and chronic infections when you're perimenopausal. They look alike, right? So like mold disrupts hormones. Perimenopause is the decline of hormones, and this sort of, rodeo show of hormones doing wild and new things, as you sort of call it, like reverse puberty, right? So I think what's happened is that I've been kind of successful with the mold detox, as evidenced by this scan not showing the molds that I was initially treating. But because I'm at an age where my hormones are naturally in a decline, which is a natural part of aging, it's looked like failure. So I might have these moments of things being okay, and then things get chaotic. And, it's a failure that none of my doctors have asked me to think about this or look at this and have a conversation with me about how I would like to age, right? Like, what's my approach going to be, and what can they provide, and what do they think I might need? And to have me like consider this and have a plan, right? And to be fair, like, I haven't been able to be with doctors long enough due to some circumstances, generally financial and spatial, that long enough to maybe have that conversation. Like I believe the doctor that I was working with in Washington did start having that conversation with me, and I'm super sad that I'm not in Washington able to continue to work with her, because I think I would be in a much different place by now than I am. But here I am, right? And I'm going to make my way forward. So I have been trying to work within the health insurance that I have through the government, because I am still seeking additional employment. I've got a part-time job, but it doesn't qualify me to get off of government assistance. And I literally had a conversation with I went to a whole new midlife women's clinic thinking gee, I'll have this conversation with someone there from the sort of allopathic hormone replacement therapy side of things, and all the scanning that they do for bone density to screen for osteopenia and all that kind of stuff. And, I was roundly dismissed, right, by the nurse. I hadn't even seen the practitioner. She's like, you're not menopausal or postmenopausal, so we're not going to talk to you about hormone replacement therapy. And I was like, well, that's clear now. So I'm going to have to go out of pocket to talk to a gynecologist that treats perimenopausal women with hormones, should their situation should it look beneficial for them, right? And I was reminded of a medical doctor I worked with back in 2011 when I was first starting to experience, I had a round, it wasn't the first time, I had a round of some health trouble, a couple of years, and I wasn't getting it solved. And I found this new doctor, and she immediately honed in on heavy metal toxicity and had me do a test. And she also tested my hormones. And she's like, you're a little pre-diabetic, you've got heavy metal poisoning, and your hormones are not in balance. And she's like, these are your options for how to detox these poisons. But meanwhile, and I want you to research and tell me which direction you want to go, and I'll help guide you on whatever path you like. Both are fine, whichever one feels right for you. And I would like you to be on some very low dose compounded hormones while we do this, so that you're feeling supported and better. Because the goal is to have you feel better. And then once we see the poisons leaving your system, we can have another conversation about that. I have not, what a failure. Neither of my schools of doctors, the Lyme literate, mold literate, natural, holistic doctors, have had that conversation with me. None of my, allopathic women's health doctors are having that conversation with me. It's, I'm realizing how special this other doctor was, and I'm sad I wasn't able to continue with her. She actually left practice and worked in a senior center. I tend to lose doctors. But I just wanted to point out that I would really like the mold and Lyme literate community to start addressing the unique concerns that happen for women who are perimenopausal. Partly because that's what I need to know, and I can't, the gynecologist that I found that serves Pennsylvania that would talk about HRT so far, I found someone, and she charges $700 for a session, which is actually a reasonable price in that community. Normally they're $1,200 or more, and it's just it's out of pocket. And I'm like, are you fucking insane? You have to be wealthy to balance your hormones? That's ridiculous, right? That's absolutely ridiculous. So, not that I am angry at wealthy people. Go do it. Be healthy, be happy. But Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money. Just to have someone tell you if you are a good candidate for hormone replacement therapy and be truly expert in dealing with you as a unique person with complicated health history. So that's kind of the thing that I'm trying to navigate right now, is to figure out how do I learn about this when there's not a lot out there about it, and what direction I want to go. So I'm pretty sure, initially what I was trying to do through the health insurance system was just figure out if I'm eligible for hormone replacement therapy, just to know, and also to get some basic scans done, which apparently I'm too young to get, right? But because of my health history with Epstein-Barr and mold and Lyme, all of those things affect the joints and the muscles, and I would like to be starting to track that so that I'm not prematurely disabled if there's something that I can do that's preventative, right? And kind of work it from a lot of different angles. So I'm going to try to see my doctor. I am seeing my doctor tomorrow, my primary care physician, and just going to push her to refer me to physical therapy again for some more joint issues I've been having, and also to see if she'll refer me to a specialist that can work up whether or not I do have an official autoimmune diagnosis, which would open up some doors for me in terms of being able to monitor and scan some things. I don't want that to be true, but I don't know quite what my other route is right now with my resources that are my resource level. So this is an odd update. It's mostly been sort of a back and forth between feeling helpless and feeling furious and feeling neglected in some ways, and just a lot of it's been emotional, put it that way. And on top of that, a lot of symptoms. Now the great part is working with this new health coach, all of my symptoms have mellowed out like significantly, and one of the main things that has been super useful is this fine-tuned diet that she got via the scan. I've had to eliminate weird foods and categories that everybody would say is healthy, and also eliminate some categories of foods that are sort of standard if you're trying to eat sort of an anti-inflammatory diet. So, and it's worked, right? I've dropped probably 5 pounds, which would probably be inflammation, and my joints work better. I'm actually out walking as opposed to in agony and just sitting on the couch all the time in pain. So things are promising, but they're not fully resolved yet. But I'm excited to continue to work with her in hopes that maybe ongoing, like what I feel like she would be great with is to do steady scans with her on the food part and the nutrition part, and just constantly kind of manage my diet in a really specific way instead of like going online and looking at the trend diets, because the trend diets don't do anything if, like, for example, one of the foods I have to avoid is beef. Everybody's talking about how healthy beef is and beef products are, but they're not for me right now. So maybe they will be again at some point, but I'm avoiding beef and I'm feeling better, and I substitute things like lamb. I have had a lot of sheep products because I can't do cow or goat dairy either. So I've been doing sheep things and sheep cheese and things like that. So I don't know, this is getting a little bit rambly and I'm starting to walk, which is probably why. I just wanted to do kind of an overview and update. So I'm going to link below all of the sort of perimenopausal resources that I found. There's a lot of great Gen X women kicking ass right now in this niche, and worthy of sharing. And I also, if I ever do find a doctor, well, let me back up. Let me finish my thought. If I do find a doctor that is in the mold space and Lyme space that specifically has material for perimenopausal women, I will post that as well. Meanwhile, I think what I'm going to do is go back to my naturopathic doctor in Pittsburgh that worked with me when I had COVID back in 2020. And I worked with her for my first year of mold treatment. I really liked her. And see if she can help me do a natural approach to hormonal balancing and see how far I can get with that for 6 months. And then, if I can't get to a place where I'm feeling symptom-free enough, at that point, I know I will have to pony up the money to talk to a gynecologist who can prescribe pharmaceuticals to see if I can get the rest of the way there. So that feels like a good plan. That's my plan. And meanwhile, I'll be doing a parasite cleanse and continuing on with the mold detox after that with this new health coach. And I'm feeling like so far her protocols have proved themselves. So she's worth the investment, and I'm okay with the path I'm on. So that's my update. Sorry this was super rambly. Hopefully if you're somebody that watches this and you're also like perimenopausal and dealing with mold and you have a resource, good Lord, please post a comment with a link, because I'm looking for anything that I can find. All right. I hope people are well. Take care. Bye-bye.